what's the trick with hills? How do you get up a hill without blowing up? Leg speed, heart rate. What people need to do when they climb a hill is understand that if my heart rate and my breathing are increasing as I'm going up the hill, then this can't go on forever. And hills can go on forever. Or it seems that way sometimes, doesn't it? So what you need to do is you need to get with a rhythm, a leg speed, a heart rate, a pace that you can maintain as you climb that hill. And that means going to lower gears, just like she said a moment ago. I'm going to downshift. I'm going to utilize those lower gears to get my heart rate and respiration to keep from popping. I don't want to blow up going up that hill. I've never walked up a hill. Now I've stopped. I've taken photo opportunities. It might take me 18 bites to eat a meal you can eat in 2. Okay, congratulations. But I ate the meal. I rode up the hill. 40 years, never walked up a hill. I feel good about that. First time I climbed Vail Pass, 17 photo opportunities. You know, it's relative. I got to the top. I got the view. It's great. Okay? For those of you that think, well, I suck at hills. Okay? Your technique hadn't been right. You haven't been thinking about less load, more leg speed. Okay? You haven't been watching your heart rate. You've been trying to keep up with somebody. You've been coming into a hill at 15 and you thought you had to stay at the same speed. Guess what? Staying at the same speed is accelerating. It's not the same amount of work. Remember, you're on a hill now. Gravity, incline, okay? N2, mean anything to you? Tourmalet, okay? Hills, climbs, take more effort to do the same speed. So that's why we don't watch speed as the metric to measure our performance by. We look at our heart rate so that we can make sure that we're doing what we can do, okay? Leg speed needs to be up. That's where the cadence and the heart rate thing come in on managing your pace. It's a relationship that you're using those gears properly. I'm shifting gears according to the changes in the terrain and the wind to stay in a good leg speed, to stay at a good heart rate. Heart rate's the principal guide. So I don't want to push big gears all the time. I don't want to hurt my legs all the time. I don't want to always be pushing down. I want to think circles. I want to think rotational. Once you start working on leg speed and spin, you'll find your rhythm. But it takes work to identify it. So you have to go exploring. And it's less load, more leg speed. Stay in the saddle and downshift. Unless you're dealing with an extremely steep grade, you're already in your lowest gear. You have no gear options. I suggest at that point you consider standing to finish the climb, and we'll talk about that in a sec. But the biggest advantage is to stay in the saddle. Aerodynamically, less resistance. Legs have more leverage when you're down in that position, especially down in the drops, because the smaller the angle is at your hips, the more powerful your legs are, both on the pull and on the push. Okay? My center of gravity is lower when I'm down in the saddle and down in the drops. So I'm a much more compact machine. I'm going to get a lot more power to the drivetrain. I'm going to get on up that hill. Leg speed can slow down to as low as 35 climbing hills. And I quite frequently teach that to my clients who have large payload. Okay? Because payload really affects performance on hills a lot more than it does on flat terrain. And the tendency for their heart rate and respiration to pop out of control is pretty significant. So what I've taught them to do is as they climb that hill, if they need to slow down their leg speed to a slower turn of the pedal to keep their heart rate from going out of control, they've generally got a lot of strength in their legs. So finishing that one climb with that little anaerobic crawl at 4 or 5 or 6 miles an hour is better for them than trying to get off the bike and trying to remount. If I have to stand up, what I encourage you to do is not trying to get real aggressive and real hard and throwing the bike from side to side and getting speed, but instead to kind of walk up the hill in a slow cadence, using your body weight and so forth to help you so that you can keep everything moving up the hill. A lot of times when you get that side-to-side stuff going on, since your center of gravity is affected, since your speed of travel is kind of slow, crashing, falling over in those situations is usually very easy. And generally it's kind of embarrassing because of the crowd. and it can be painful in the way you fall into the spokes or into the pedals or into the chain and get cut up. Not that I've ever had that happen to me or anything, but it's been known to happen. All right, please remember that sometimes hills come in combinations that exceed one. And after this one, you got another one, and maybe another one after that. And I know on that run we were talking about after Iowa Park, you get some of those. So what you need to think about is that I don't want to overwork on the climb. But the downhill is a recovery, but it's an active recovery. Okay? I need to use my gears on a downhill. I need to go to the big ring up front. I need to add gears in back. My leg speed immediately slows way down, which gives my heart rate a chance to lower. As I go down the hill, I let gravity in the gear accelerate me. I don't push aggressively against the pedals, I just turn the pedals. And as I'm going down that hill, gravity in the gear accelerate me. Now I get to the bottom of the next hill, I've got 20 plus miles an hour going on. I'm in the big ring up front. I got a lot of gears in back to work my way through. Momentum starting me up on the next climb. So as I start going up the next hill, what do I do as I lose my momentum? What's my first gear shift? Absolutely. The first gear shift you need to make is from the big ring to the little ring. Two reasons. One, you're going to get the least loss of momentum with the best gain of leg speed if you make that big to little ring change. Second reason is you got 11 gears in back to come down through. Chances are, if you don't make the big ring change first, you're going to get preoccupied with making all these changes in the back. And you're going to end up in your low gear up front, in your big ring up front. That's with 11 speed cogs now, that's a big move. That's not a linear chain, that's an angular chain. And what's going to happen when you go, oh, what's going to happen when you throw to the little ring? You're going to throw your chain off. The chain's going to be at such an angle it won't catch. Okay? Goes back to that design of the gears. Work in harmony with how your bike's designed. So I'm going to downshift to the little ring first, then one gear at a time, give up the gears in the back as I need to.